it's all safe. But thank you for joining us. Good luck, everybody. I'm going to now go invisible, and then I'll. There we go. I'm invisible, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Whoa, where's that voice coming from? Oh my God.
I promise not to troll you. And, okay.
Right.
Good luck and have a lot of fun.
Okay, thank you, Jason. All right. Hello, everyone, and good evening. Before we actually get into the event, I want to go over some housekeeping rules. So the chat is open for discussion and comments. Should I wait for people to come in? There's like 18 people here. So I said, like, everyone's like coming in and they're probably hearing me like mid-sentence. They're like, what is she talking about? I just got here. So I'm going to wait like a minute. Yeah,
wait like a minute. So you're in Chicago. What do you like? What's your favorite bookstore in Chicago? Do you have a favorite?
There is this one that is near my university. It's called Bookseller, like Cellar. Yeah, that's how you spell it. It's really cute. It's like an independent bookstore. It's kind of like a hole in the wall kind of bookstore. And the people over there are really nice. And it's been open for like a couple decades actually. And the area even, it's just like really nice over there to like scroll and walk and eat. It's so cute. There's this other one, I forgot the name. It's Under Bridge. I think that's the name of it. That's like, I go there like occasionally. It's kind of far. But that bookstore is really cool. They have like their staff is so nice. I'm pretty sure everyone or most of the staff, they're all part of the LGBT plus community, and a lot of their books, like they have like a whole room just dedicated to LGBT plus books. It's really nice. And I remember the first time I ever got recognized was at that bookstore. So
you never forget your first time.
Yeah.
It's like so shocking. You're almost like you almost want to lie.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, you know me? Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like I remember the cashier, she's like, are you from TikTok? And I'm like, yeah, because like I went up to her, I'm like, do you have an open bathroom? Because in Chicago they hardly ever have open bathrooms. And I drank a lot of coffee that day, and I don't drink a lot of coffee, or if I do, it's like with oat milk because my stomach and lactose, it's not a thing. So I had to go. And I'm like, hey girl, I got an open bathroom, and she's like, no, but I recognize you from TikTok. I'm like, oh my God. And
you get special
like
privileges, yeah.
She's like, we have a bathroom, but it's like really, really dirty. So I'm like, okay, I'll hold it in.
The oat milk's got me.
Yeah, but it was really nice. She gave me her like discount too. I'm like, oh, I should come here again. But yeah, it's a really cute bookstore.
Oh yeah, let's get that going. A TikTok creator discount.
No, yeah, give it to me. I'm right here.
Hook it up.
Yeah, she was able to give me her discount. That was nice of her.
That is nice.
Yeah. Now that people are like coming in, I should go ahead and get into my thing. But hello everyone, good evening. Hope everyone's doing well what time it is, wherever you are in the world. Before we actually get into it, I wanted to go over some housekeeping rules for like the chat and everything. So just keep comments like friendly, nice, and like spoiler free. We might have time towards the end of the event for audience questions, so go ahead and just like put those in the chat. I won't be reading them right now. I'll read them towards the end if we have time, but go ahead and just like, as we're discussing, if you have a question, just pop it in the chat and we'll hopefully get into it. But I want to introduce myself. I am Ayman, also known as @Ayman's Books on TikTok, Instagram, pretty much everywhere else. And I want to thank you guys all for coming to our first romance book club author event. I'm the host of Spicy Romance Book Club on the Fable app. I started this club around August of last year, and we primarily only read romance books written by romance authors. And today I am so honored to be welcoming the incredible, the talented author of our recent read, Fixer Up, Tessa Bailey. I'm going to introduce Tessa, but Tessa Bailey, as I'm sure we all know, is the New York Times bestselling author of numerous romance books, including It Happened One Summer, Hook, Line, and Sinker, which I'm reading right now. It is so good, y'all. Okay, sorry, fangirl moment. Fix Her Up, and upcoming release, My Clarification. Tessa Bailey writes about stubborn, fictional blue-collar men, loyal and lovable heroines. Tessa Bailey lives on Long Island, New York with her husband and daughter. If you want sexy, heartfelt, funny romance books, then with like the cutest happily ever afters, then Tessa Bailey is your author. You can find Tessa on TikTok at author Tessa Bailey, or check out her website, tessabailey.com, for a complete list of her amazing books. I am beyond excited to having this conversation with you, Tessa, and I want to thank you for being here with us tonight. And no, yeah, I'm gonna get into the questions. So just to give you guys a gist of like how it's gonna go and stuff, the whole event might be around 45 minutes. The first half of it is going to be just like questions about the book and other books by Tessa Bailey, and then towards the end I'll have rapid fire questions, and then after that, if we have time, I'll go through the comments in the chat and ask audience questions. But yeah, keep those nice questions. Yeah. I'm sure everyone here is cool, but yeah, just in case. So question number 1, let's get into it. So my book club, we just recently read Fix Her Up together. And for some of our new members who might not be familiar with your work, how would you describe the books that you write?
I'd say my books are like a good mixture of humor. They're definitely on the hotter side, but I would say like maybe on a 3.5 out of 5 scale. I think that's what generally people rate them as.
Yeah.
Like you said in my bio, it's like it's kind of like blue collar men a lot of the time that work with their hands. They have they work for their money. It's not they're not necessarily billionaires, and
Yeah.
sort of like plucky, stubborn, brave heroines. And that's like pretty much the theme at all times, is like there always is an opposites attract situation where the hero, like for instance, is a grumpy sea captain, and then he meets this like Instagram famous socialite who is nothing like him, and I like slowly draw them together, kicking and screaming to the middle. So that's pretty much every book. Every book, with the exception of a few, is opposites attract.
No, yeah, that's what I love about your writing. It's like people from like, different lives, like different occupations that you wouldn't think would be together are together, and they find this chemistry. That's what I love. And how you can make any occupation sexy. Like I go into these books and I'm like, okay, I think I want to move to like a small town. Like maybe I can get like a fisherman or something. Like I don't know. Like I love how you can do that. Like these like occupations, like even in Fix Her Up, and of course it happens when summer, like everything. I'm just like, okay, I see what you're doing here. This is
you
so
didn't see the sexy clown coming, did you?
No, yeah, I did not. But now I'm just like, you know what? Let me get into clowns. Let me get into that. That was so fun.
Let me
to
explore
read about.
clowns for a minute. Yeah. It's definitely like a lot of people were like put off when they found out Georgie was going to be a birthday party clown. They're like, I don't do clowns. And I was like, give me a chance.
Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? Like, you can have any job you want, but like she's a badass, so she makes it work. So no, I love that book.
Thank you. Yeah, I do like to draw. I do like I like kind of like out there professions, like I think like right now I'm writing a vintner and then earlier before that I wrote like a gardener. I'm just like I kind of just like something that I can kind of research and maybe learn something in the process of writing. Just something that's like, king crab fisherman. I knew enough to like from watching Deadliest Catch, but I didn't know like the nitty gritty of it until I was writing the books. And like it's really just kind of like a learning experience, as well as being like an enjoyable romance ride. So I like to pick kind of unusual professions.
No, yeah, I love that, because like you said, you're learning as you're writing, but even like speaking for your readers, we're learning as we're reading. Like I think it's really cool, like getting that perspective on all these different occupations and such. So yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I enjoy it too, and I get it from other authors. So hopefully I do an okay job.
You do, for sure. But not just speaking for like the book Fix Her Up, but like what inspires you to write like such badass and like funny, strong characters? Is there like any process you go through or like went through in order to write your characters like from your books?
I mean, I really just when I'm crafting a character or I'm going through the sort of journey with them, because I do try to plot, but my characters a lot of times just take the lead, and like I kind of have to adapt to them because they just like they'll get to a certain point in the story and I'll realize like I didn't know them well enough when I plotted this book to know what their decision was going to be here, and it's going to be different, and I have to kind of compensate for that. And so really what it comes down to is I have to agree with the decisions they make. So even if it's a bad decision, like there has to be some sort of motivation that's driving that bad decision that I think is sufficient enough for that, you know, like too stupid to live moment. So like, yeah, I think, you know, I let them be themselves. I let them be as brave as they want, but I really kind of, I have to like look at them through the lens of myself and say, like, can I agree with this? Can I still like this person after they make this decision? So a
No,
lot of
yeah.
times it does go through that filter.
Oh, no, yeah, that's really interesting. No, yeah, one thing I love about your books is how, like, I can connect with each character so well without even realizing it, and they're so relatable and funny and just overall entertaining. And no, yeah, like the fact that you like put yourself like through their lens and see like, do I like this character and blah 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 and like what they went through and stuff. I think that's really cool. It's really interesting because even as like a reader myself, like, reading these books, it's like almost unexpected that I find myself like relating to these characters and I enjoy them and now they're like my comfort characters and like I don't know, I just want to protect them and give them a big old hug.
That's the goal. I mean, I honestly, you know, like I if I can do anything, it's creating memorable characters. You know, like I'm not like the twist at the end plotter. I'm not going to be like the super intricate suspense plot person. It's really, really
Yeah.
romance focused and character driven. So as long as I can create those memorable characters, I'm happy.
No, yeah. Yeah. And yeah, job well accomplished. Um,
Thanks.
no, yeah, like I love that. Like books like that are character driven, that's where, you know, like that's my weakness if anything. Like it's what I go for. Like if there's like a lot of plot going on, it doesn't really end up being memorable to me at least. But good characters, it's got my money for sure.
I agree. I'm the same way as a reader, for sure.
Yeah. If there's like one thing I know like your readers love and myself including is that you create such lovable, relatable and deep characters really while keeping the story like in third person. What made you like come up with this decision to keep the series like Hot and Hammered and the Blinger Sister series in third person?
You know, I think it was more like a mutual decision between me and my publisher based on like what we thought the trends were going to be at the time. Like, I don't think, like, so I've been writing, I started writing, it's been 9 years now. And, first person wasn't super as dominant as it is now back then.
Right.
So I'd written like 20, 30 books in third person. I read maybe like one or two in first. And it's just kind of like something I always kind of go back to because I think it's more my voice than first person. But I do like to do both. Like My Killer Vacation, window shopping. I put those in first. I'm looking over at my shelf full of my books. I'm like, I can't remember anything I've ever written now. It's all gone. But yeah, I like to keep like a foot in both ponds because I think it's a valuable skill to have to be able to go back and forth. But it just really kind of, most of what I do is really mood driven. And so if I'm in the mood for a first person, like I write first person. And it's sometimes like if I really want to get into the head of a character, like Aiden in window shopping or something, like, and I just kind of want to like have their thoughts like they're coming from me, like that's really satisfying. But I do my best to try and make third person flow like first person, because I know for some people it's hard to get into that, like you don't feel like you're in the story
Right.
much. So there's a lot of like run-on sentences and sentences flowing and starting with and it's like it's kind of stream of consciousness as much as I can make it, if that makes sense.
No, yeah. Cause like, I tell everyone around me like, no, yeah, I think I prefer like first person books better. But then like I read a third person book and like with you, what I've noticed in your books is that like I don't even realize I'm in third person. Like I'm still getting like a lot of depth and nuance and connecting to all these characters. Um, no matter what, point of view it's through and everything. And I think that's a valuable, skill to have is like, yeah, you can write it in both perspectives and even like speaking for readers ourselves, like I still get a lot from each character. So no, yeah, you did
Oh,
good
good.
job.
I'm glad to know it comes across that way. You know, like I know a lot of people like won't even try it. You know, like they're like,
Mm.
when are you gonna write a book in first again? And I'm like, you know, soon. But you know, I just think if people gave it a try, it's kind of one of those things where you got to get like 2 chapters in, and then you're just.
No,
Sometimes I will
literally,
pick up a
yeah,
book in the writing style, and I'll be like, well, I'm not going to be able to read a whole book of this. And then by
exactly.
chapter 3, I'm like, this is my new language.
No, you're completely right, because like it's like you don't even notice it happening, and you're in the story,
Yeah.
and you can like process it and everything like that. So no, yeah, like good job.
It's amazing what the brain can do if you just kind of like
Yeah,
give it like
just
some
have to
time
like
to
make
like
your
kick in.
brain train that way. No, yeah. But no, yeah, I love your books if it isn't obvious already.
Thank you.
Yeah. If there's like one thing, like, I personally love about your books is that like there's like words and like phrases that come out of the main character's mouth that number one leave me shocked. Number two leave me shaking. Number three leave me like gonna try to keep this PG. But how do you come up with these like, sentences and phrases that make like, the rest of us swoon?
I don't know, you know, like when it comes to like the sort of rated R talk, I think it's very much like something that in my own life, I crave that, because I think we
Yeah.
like kind of operate in this world where everything is um kind of filtered, and like we kind of
True.
like, you know, we don't necessarily, are we not honest all the time with each other. And I think it's really, really interesting and like a poignant moment in the book when this filter has gone down and like
Yeah.
you're saying exactly what's on their mind. And I'm like, I think I just crave that in real life so much that when I get to those moments in the book, it's like, this is it, I'm turning it on, you know,
No,
like,
yeah. I love
and
that.
yeah, so I think it's just more like living out a fantasy of honesty within like kind of fiction, a fictional setting.
Exactly. No, yeah, because that's like one thing I go to books for is like literally escaping from reality. Like you can't really get that like with movies and TV shows and stuff like that. Whereas in books you can. Like there's some wordings and phrases to like I've never actually like heard that, but like I read it through the book and I absolutely loved it. I ate that up. It's so good.
I think that's
Um,
why like Bridgerton season 2, like people have been like freaking out, rightly so, over it, is because those scenes with Anthony, like where he was telling her like Kate how he felt about her was
yeah, the
so like
bane of my
unlike how
existence.
men talk to women. It was so raw and like just tortured, and women were just like, oh my god, like this is what I want, you know, like I want a man to actually tell me what he's feeling so I don't have to try and read his mind all the time.
No,
So I think
literally.
I think it's just like a fantasy to be talked to in that way.
No, yeah.
Go
If
on.
anyone's listening, like, this is advice right here. Like, if you want to know how to talk to women, read those romance books. And no, yeah, just learn from women themselves and everything like that. No, yeah, I love, words of affirmation and everything like that. That's my weakness right there. And I love reading that like through your books. I'm just like, wow, I love it. I never would have
Well,
thought this myself, but no, yeah, Tessa, she's my girl. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I like I just really enjoy that. I really enjoy just being able to, I don't know, kind of just like, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, how
Hmm.
you almost never like have a man say like, what are you thinking? Like what is in
Yeah.
your mind? Like tell me what you're thinking. And I think that is like a common theme throughout romance, is man being like what's going on in your head? And that is so attractive, just a man caring what you're
Really.
thinking, and like doing something about it, you know. That I think that's like honestly one of the more addictive parts of romance, is just the man or the woman like getting into each other's heads, like, and like
Yeah.
really caring and doing something and adapting to the other person. So
No, yeah. I absolutely love that, especially when it's like kind of subtle or not, especially like I remember reading Fixer Up, and I just love anything in which like the whether it's the male or female character denying their feelings for the other one, but like, doing all these gestures and these little things that just like add up to like how they actually feel on the inside. And no, yeah, I just love that completely. I think it's sick.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
no, yeah, like we're all a big fan of your writing style that has like sucked us all into the story from like the first page. Can you give us like, writing tips on how you come up with that, or just like how you develop your writing style in general?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to, my writing style, I think is just kind of, I've grown more comfortable in it over time, and it's just sort of like, I like the way I write now. I'm sure 9 years ago was nothing like it's similar, but I'm sure it's completely changed or it's evolved into something different. As far as like a plot structure, like I really like to start with the pasts of each character. I think the past is what make the characters, like why
No,
they
yeah.
act the way they act, what their fears and inhibitions and their goals are. So I start with their past and then the future that I want for them by the end of the book. And then there has to be like a reason that they can't be together. Like that is the foundation of a romance novel, a good romance novel to me, is that
Right.
there has to be a reason that they can't be together, that it's not a miscommunication or some sort of like misunderstanding. And a lot of times like those past and those future goals can weave those together for you, to weave that
Yeah.
reason for you. So it's kind of like a web structure
Ah,
that I play with. And like I said, it's really character driven. So, once I get those strong personalities on the page together, there's conflict just kind of, baked into it.
no, yeah. That's what I love about your books. It's because like from like a reader's perspective, like the thing that just can't like make them be together and blah 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 is like I'm like in my head I'm like, how is this gonna end? Because like I can't predict it. And then you pull something and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, yeah, because I know in my head it's like gonna be happily ever after, but I'm like, how are we gonna get to this point? Like Tessa threw this out and this and this and blah 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 and this is happening, and I don't know. I'm just like, how is this gonna happen in which like each party is 100% happy, but then you make it happen, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, yeah, that ache that I feel in between that time is like, I love it so much. I'm just like,
That
oh
good
yeah,
stomach ache. I know. Like there's no better feeling for me, like when I'm reading a romance novel where that same thing is happening, where like I'm like, I have no idea how this ends or how they're gonna pull this off. And yet I have absolute trust in the author. So I know it's going to work out. And
yeah,
so I can let myself be scared and I can let myself be nervous because I know like it's going to work out and I'm not going to go splat. Like there's going to be that net at the end. It's going to catch me.
yeah,
So like just like being able to trust an author is such a nice thing. And like it's such a thing that's only unique to romance. Like you can trust
you're
and
right.
give you happily ever after. That's why
No,
it's so
yeah.
great. Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. Like authors, like of course, like we can all trust you speaking for everyone here. And the journey that you bring us through, like with these characters being so character driven and so deep and all these little plot points and this and that, then it's all wrapped up in a nice cute little bow. That number one is so like talented, like having those skills. Like personally for me, like I cannot write anything. I try, but I can't. If you had read my essays from high school, you'd be like, can she even read? Like, um, no, yeah. So honestly, every time, like, I see that happening and I'm like, oh my gosh, these thoughts came from someone's head. Like someone came up with this. Like people have just thoughts and plots and characters in their head that they can just write about. I don't know. It's amazing to me having that talent. So,
Yeah, I like never thought I did have it. I was like, well, I'm not going to be an author. Like that's for somebody else to do with like an Ivy League education. And, so the fact that I get to do it it's actually really unexpected. I'm still shocked that I get to do this for a living. But yeah, I mean, you might surprise yourself. One day it'll just pour out, and
no,
you'll,
yeah, maybe one day. Right now, I'm just like, trying to get through finals, but Well, yeah, like honestly having those skills and stuff like that, if I did have them or if I do have them sometime in the future, I'm definitely going to utilize them for
Well,
sure.
you're good at a lot of other things, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you. One thing I know when reading one of your books is like I'm gonna laugh out loud. Like there's some books that I'm just like I read them like, oh, that was cute, that was funny in my head. But with you, I'm on the floor. Like I am sweating. Like it is so funny. Like I not too long ago I read It Happened One Summer, and that I hope this is not spoiler, but it's not, like that memorial party scene that was
Oh yeah.
so funny. I told my sister about that. I'm like, there's this book, right? And then I told my mom, and I'm like, this, like, you don't get it because it's kind of out of context, but it's funny, okay, just laugh. But like how do you come up with like these hilarious like characters and scenarios and scenes? Do you get like inspired from in real life events or anything?
Sometimes I do, like I can't say anything has really been inspiring from real life in the last 2 years because there's just been no real life. So that's why like a lot of my inspiration has been like Ted Lasso and Schitt's Creek and things like that, where I'm like, like I've been inspired by those things because television's all there is, right? Was all there is,
Right. Yeah.
But as far as like the funny parts of the books, like I don't think I was as funny in my earliest books, but I've learned to trust my sense of humor as I've gotten
Right.
older. And like even TikTok, just being on TikTok and people being like, that's funny. And I'm like, am I funny? Like,
Yeah.
and then like I start to like believe more in my sense of humor. And I think that's something that's just come with going into my 30s. And like, I said that like I just turned 30. I'm like 38. But like it really has just like something where I'm just going to trust that this is funny because it's making me laugh. And I have to believe somebody else is going to laugh at this too. And kind of not
Right.
caring so much about somebody not laughing at you. It's kind of like one of those things that's very freeing, and it like allows you to try more when it comes to humor and funny situations. So that, yeah, I think like getting older and learning to just be okay with not being funny sometimes has made me funnier. That
No,
makes
yeah. I get that. That's really cool. No, yeah, like even just seeing your content on TikTok, I'm like, she's funny. Like this is an author that not only do I enjoy their books, I enjoy them as a person. Like it was like that recent video that you were at like that hockey game and you're like, oh, it's like a hockey like player gonna fall in love with me. I laughed out loud. No, I'm just like, no, I love you, your books, the whole thing. And obviously, like, when you're writing these rom-coms, you're giving the rom and you're giving the com. So yeah.
Thank you. Actually, like I'm obsessed with your TikTok. There was
Aw.
this one video. There's this one video you did like a lot. I think it's been like 3, 4, or 5 months, but you were with your friend at the bookstore and you were like, oh, we're hanging out by the book talk table, trying to get noticed,
No.
trying to get recognized. And now I'm like super aware of like being near the book talk table in Barnes Noble. I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm trying to get recognized because I think
No, yeah, I try to be all nonchalant about it, but
I'm like, oh, what's this one I've read 65 times?
oh yeah, like that's the first
Language.
thing. I don't know. I try to be that girl when I go to the bookstore, but it's like weird because I'm also very introverted, and I like if anyone were to recognize me in public, I don't know. I just don't know. I wouldn't know how to act. I haven't been recognized too many times,
It's only
but like,
happened to me 2 times. 2 times, and like outside of like a romance novel convention setting,
mm,
no,
no, yeah, like I've been to like conventions and stuff like that, in which I have been recognized, but that's kind of like default. Like people are coming there because they know I'm gonna be there and stuff like
right,
that.
you're amongst your people.
Yeah, yeah. I remember one time, it was actually recently, I was at the mosque because it's like Ramadan for Muslims right now. I was with my mom. I'm kind of new to like the neighborhood that I live in right now. And we were at the mosque, and I usually just hang out there with my mom. I don't know many people there. And, I'm always like, in my full abaya, like Muslim attire and everything like that. I don't go there to impress anyone. Group of girls came up to me like, are you from TikTok? And I'm like, yeah. And
I'm off
my
the
mom
clock
was like,
right now, girls.
no, I'm just like, it was such a surreal moment because I was there with my mom, and she's like watching this whole thing unfold, and then one of them just started crying, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I'm
That's
just like,
really cool though. What did your mom say?
my mom was like, how famous are you? Because like she knows like I do TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that, and but like she's kind of oblivious. Like she's like, oh, she has books in the mail. That's like that's her job or whatever like that. And um, like I just noticed the girl, like she was just crying, and I'm like, I'm not worth it, please. Like
Save your tears.
no, yeah, but they were very nice. No, yeah, it's
That's
very
really
cool.
special though, like especially in front of your parents, because like deep down you do want your parents to think you're like doing something worthwhile, you know?
Yeah,
Like, and
that was like that moment in which I think my mom kind of realized that like,
that's good.
oh, she's actually making an impact here. Like,
That's good. That's good then.
yeah,
You are. You are.
yeah.
So.
Oh, thank you. Anyways, back to the point. So like following like these questions and everything like that, and these characters and like how we connect with them, do you ever think you'll write anything more from specific characters that you've already written about, like for in this case like Travis and Georgie, Piper and Brendan, Fox and Hannah? Like are we like short stories or novellas? Like is that something you can delve into or want
I
to?
mean, we played with the idea of a third book in the Bellinger Sisters series, and
Ah,
I don't know, like I have a very short attention span, and sometimes like I will get like a snippet of a scene in my head with the characters. I like these characters live in my head like full time, and I will wake up sometimes on like a Sunday morning when I'm not getting up to work, and I will like play out a scene with Piper and Brendan in my head, like just a scene of them doing something, or you know like having a birthday party, or like having a scare or something, and I will just like play it out in my head. And so they like live in my head like well
yeah.
beyond the end of the book. But as far as like going back in and writing a full book, like I do get really antsy and I want to move on to a different world, like very quickly. And I think it's better to quit while you're ahead, because
Oh,
third book in the series, I'm like, I go, what if it's like the disappointing book and then I have to leave on that note? Like I just, I really like to just leave on a high, and with books that people really enjoyed, and like kind of like move on to something else and leave it in like that perfect moment that I left it in.
oh no, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I get that. Like, if anything, I love books in which like each book is like, two characters and stuff, but it's like part of a series in which like, same world and everything, like the Billinger sisters and Hot and Hammered. And no, yeah, I think that's really cool how like authors can continue like the same world and everything like that, but with different characters. And you can like, speaking for the readers, we still get that higher like reading your books. And, towards the end, you're like, oh my gosh, no, yeah, I love these characters. And like you say they live in your head, they live in my head too. Like I think about like, just this morning and everything like that. I was like thinking about all the books and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love these characters so much. Like, and like I even think about them like in different situations that didn't even happen in the
Yeah.
book.
Oh yeah.
And like, yeah, I think of that like as a reader myself. I'm just like, no, yeah, like, or I pretend like I'm the main character. I'm like, oh, Brendan's like falling in love with me, like he loves me. Yeah,
That's good. I mean, I feel like that's a sign of success. Like that's my version of success, because if
yeah,
I've written a character that you can recall that easily, then it was
yeah,
like a character that, like a memorable character, like a character that you will think of in a couple of years, hopefully, and like his name will evoke some sort of emotion for you, or her name.
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that. When I read a book where that happens to me, I'm like, that's the sign of a good book. Like if
that is a good book.
Jesse
Fully.
Ward, you say Jesse Ward, and I think of a certain character, or like there's just certain names I'll never forget in romance,
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. Goal achieved. But like because like your books are so like well loved and popular, especially like on TikTok, have you seen any like content like from your fans and readers that like they've created, or like videos and trends that like stand out to you from like your books?
Yeah, I mean, just the like convincing you to read a book based on the aesthetic, and I'm like, where are these pictures from? Like, you can't figure
I
out,
love
like,
those videos.
they're
Yeah.
so good, and like they're all the same tone, and like they are, they're perfect, and there's like 50 of them in a row. And just the fact that somebody like took the time to put that together, and I'm like, that's a day, like that is a day's project.
Right. No,
I mean,
yeah.
it would be like a 5-day project for me.
No
So it's like, it's just touching that readers take the time to do that. But yeah, any kind of TikTok or any kind of social media post that's like somebody holding like 5 or 6 of my books is mind blowing. You know,
Aw.
I never could have imagined that. I never could have imagined, like, having somebody hold one is really special, but then seeing somebody going, no, I've read and enjoyed all of these books. That's like, if it's not Tessa Bailey, we don't want it, you know, like things like that. I'm like, it's
Yeah,
just
no,
makes
it's so
my
true.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, from knowing myself, like I read one book by one author and then I buy their entire backlist. And that was like with you. Like I literally have I have more on my shelf obviously, but I have them right here.
Oh, look
And
at
like
them.
I tab
Oh.
my books.
That's
I go
special to
into
me. That's so special.
yeah. No, yeah, it's super fun. Just like connecting with not just like the characters and stuff, but like trusting this author to buy like the rest of their stuff. And I know it's like any release, future, past, whatever, it's got my money for sure.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Like I said, that trust, like, because I know what that means for me as a reader, like having that trust with an author, and like being able to just like really let myself go, knowing they're going to catch me is so, like, it's my escape, you know? So the fact that I can be that for somebody and be that for readers, like, that's my dream. So I'm just, you know, grateful for it. And the other thing is like when people just like have a quote up on the screen and they're
Oh
reacting
yeah,
to
I
it,
love those
and they're
videos.
just like reacting to it. And I'm like, oh, you know, because you write these and you often never, well, before TikTok, I would never see reactions like that. It would just kind of, you'd see the
Yeah.
highlights or something like that on Goodreads, but you would never see
Mhm.
like physical people
Yeah,
like talking about them or
yeah,
making,
exactly.
yeah.
Those are like the being like a creator and reader myself, those are my favorite type of videos to not only watch but create. Like I'm reading a book and I'm like, okay. Like I even have like I color code when I tab and annotate. I use one color. I'm like, this is gonna end up in a TikTok, you know, that's what I do.
This is the TikTok tab.
Yeah, exactly. So no, yeah, those like videos and stuff like that, the aesthetics and no, yeah, like I don't even have to read a description of a book. I see one of those videos and boom, like it's add to cart immediately.
Yeah. I mean, like you really, it does give you like you can tell based on those videos
Yeah,
whether or not you're gonna like vibe with the book. Yeah.
exactly. Like just give me the vibe of the book and boom, that's all I
Yeah.
need. That's all I need.
My editor always says like, she's always like, yeah, all vibes, no plot. She's like, that's the kind of book I like. And yeah,
Yeah,
all
that's me.
vibes,
No,
no
yeah,
plot.
exactly. Like that is me, like to a T. Like just give me a book that I can connect with, like the characters, the vibes, and boom, 5 stars
Yeah, I'm the
immediately.
same. I'm the
Nothing
same.
less. Yeah. But
Okay.
lastly, before we get into like the rapid fire questions and also to the audience and everything, if you guys want to keep or comment questions in the chat, hopefully we'll get into them. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the chat and I'll look through them towards the end. But I wanted to like so notice you have your new book coming out, My Killer Vacation. Can you tell us a little bit about that if you can?
Yeah, the hero is our heroine is a second grade teacher, and she is with her brother on vacation at Cape Cod, and they've rented this beach house. He's like had this painful thing happen in his life, which is actually, well, it's not funny, but it's kind of not what you expect. It's not that, you know, it's kind of a funny situation. So she
Yeah.
takes him out of town to get his mind off of it, and a dead body turns up in the house. So the next day, a bounty hunter shows up to just basically solve this crime because he's doing a favor for a friend. And she's like, yeah, excuse me, I'll be helping you with this investigation because I discovered the body and I know a lot about true crime and all this. And he's like, go back inside the house where it's safe, little girl, you know? And
Yeah.
so they're like it's very grumpy sunshine, very opposites attract, which is like my catnip, and it's hilarious. It's in first person, being inside this bounty hunter's head, like he is so confused by his reaction to this woman. Like he doesn't understand like why he can't stop looking at her, you know?
No, yeah.
And I love a confused man. So it's a lot of fun.
No, yeah. Thank you, number one, for sending me that arc. I can't wait to get into it. I literally when I got in the mail and I read the description and then I read it out loud to my sister. She's like, give me that immediately. Let me read it first. Cause like no, literally, even the main character, just like, you know, her knowledge of like crime issues podcasts and stuff like that. That is me to a T. Like that's me. I'm always listening to like true crime podcasts and Spotify and this and that.
Yes.
And I'm like, I know I'm gonna have fun reading this book.
Yeah. It's like it's basically everyone right now who loves like true crime podcasts are so popular, and like
Right.
they're like a staple almost, you know, these days. Like I listen to Morbid and I listen to My Favorite Murder and like all these different shows.
Yeah.
And like, so she's so relatable in that way, because like I know we all love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can't wait for that. I'm sure everyone else is also really excited for that too. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So number one, if you do have a favorite, who was your favorite like male main character and female main character to write about?
Oh my gosh. I have a lot of favorite. Oh my God. Okay. So I think my favorite main character is a toss up between a few. Like I love Brendan. I love Brendan very much. I love a character named Brent Mason, who is a character in Asking for Trouble. It's like an oldie but a goodie. Geez. I'm like looking over at I love Elijah from Getaway Girl.
Oh
He is
yeah.
like this like Southern gentleman from Charleston. He's like the mayor of Charleston, and he's like he's like the sunshine of the grumpy sunshine
Oh no, yeah.
situation. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Bowen Driscoll from Risking It All, I would say, is definitely up there. He's like the heir to a mafia throne, and he falls for an undercover cop who's there to like take him down. Oh my gosh, I have so many. I can't think of any. Okay, so female main characters. I'm gonna go with Addison from Getaway Girl, who I absolutely love. She's like the black sheep of her family. She you know, like they basically drove her out of town, and she's back for revenge, and like, but she's got this like real soft side, and like she's got his chewy center, you know, and the mayor is the one that sees it. Oh, it's just like,
oh my gosh. No, yeah, I'm gonna get into that.
Bethany from Tools of Engagement, I would say, is one of the heroines I relate to the most, because she's like this overly analytical type A like person who she just can't relax because she's always worried about what everyone's thinking about her. And I feel like that's very me. And so she was interesting to write, because I was like, this sounds familiar like the whole time. So I feel like I worked a few things out during that process. But yeah, I like relate to all the characters in some small way, you know?
No, yeah, that's beautiful. That's very cute. Oh yeah. So like when you aren't writing the next New York Times bestseller novel, what do you enjoy reading?
So most of the time I have to read something completely different from what I write, so that I can not like compare it to what I write or critique it or kind of try to guess where the author is going with it, you know? So like a lot of times I will pick up like a Mariana Zapata slow burn, or I'll pick up like a historical romance. Like so usually it's like a real slow burn or a paranormal or historical, because I don't want to read anything that's too like similar to what I write, because I feel like it just like I'm trying to look for patterns and you know, things like that.
No, yeah, I get that. No, yeah, that's kind of like me as a reader. Like sometimes I'm like, I read a lot more romance than anything else, but then I'll occasionally read like a thriller as like a palate cleanser. So
I do too. I like Tana French. She's my favorite, like kind of murder mystery thriller writer, psychological thriller writer. So I will pick up every one of her new releases and kind of like take a step back from romance just to get a like clear palette. Yeah. Clear my
Right,
palette.
exactly. No, yeah. How did you know you wanted to become an author? Was this something that like a childhood dream or like something that just kind of happens?
Yeah, it was kind of like I just never thought, like I said, I could actually be a professional author because like I went to some college, like I'm not that smart, like,
Yeah.
and my husband was out of work because there was a storm, like a superstorm that kind of like flooded his bar where he works.
Mm.
And I was like, I need to do something creative because I'd been home with a baby for a year and disconnected. And like, so I just like locked myself in a room and wrote a book and I submitted it and somebody liked it. And I just felt like a lot of luck, like it felt like luck plus opportunity for me. So yeah, I really do attribute a lot of it to like my editor just kind of like going, I'll open this email. Like I really just think I could have been passed over so as just as easily. So I feel like a lot of luck played into, because I don't know if I would have written a second one had that first one not gotten some interest.
Right. No, yeah. You're also very talented, so there's that.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I had,
Um,
but it was a lot of learning though over time
mhm.
too. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. If you could live in one of your books, which one would it be and why?
Well, I mean, I feel like I would live in like the epilogue of Hook, Line, and Sinker.
Oh,
Because there's just like, oh, you're reading it right now, right?
yeah, I did kind of because I
Okay, I
always check
won't.
how many pages there are, and the first thing that I read was 10 years later. I'm like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, so I won't tell you anything about it, but it's 10 years later after like the series,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's happy. It's very
Yeah.
happy, and everything worked out, and everybody's still together and super happy, and like love
Hey.
each other and celebrating together. And I think that that would be an ideal place to live. It's also Christmas Eve, and that
Aw, I
in
love
that
that.
epilogue, and I love Christmas Eve. So
No, yeah, this just tells me I need to read it faster.
pick up the pace.
Yeah. Was there any book that you enjoyed writing the most?
Yeah, I think so. Ooh, I feel like I'm gonna keep going back to the same books over and over again. Um, there is a book called Make Me. That's a friends to
Yeah.
lovers book that is like a construction worker who is absolutely dead ass in love with the heroine, who is like a rich girl. And she's
Uh-huh.
so clueless to the fact that he's in love with her. And he just follows her around, protecting her and like carrying her bag. And like when her feet are hurt from her high heels, he carries her around the city. And like he's also got kind of like a rough streak. That's all
Yeah.
I'll say about it. That he's like, I'm not bringing that anywhere around her. So it's like it's very sweet, but also very hot. Yeah, that's Make Me.
Oh, yeah. If there's anything I love is like a man that is like on his knees for a girl
Yes,
fully. Oh, yeah.
yes, from the
Um,
first page.
exactly. No, yeah. What are your favorite tropes, whether they're tropes you've written about or the ones that you'd like to read about?
I really like for when I'm writing a romantic comedy, I really like enemies to lovers. I think
Yeah.
it's funny. Like I think it's really funny when two people don't like each other and the banter opportunities are ample. Like
Oh,
there's such good banter possibilities when they like are fighting or bickering with each other.
yes.
But if I'm picking up a book, like I do like a forbidden romance, like between, like a best friend's brother, kind of
Yeah.
thing, or a teacher student situation. Like I coach's daughter. I don't know. Like I like forbidden stuff because
Yeah.
I just do. That's how I'm built.
That's me. Yeah. Like I'm more like I do like enemies to lovers too. But if it's like enemies to lovers and it's like sort of forbidden, like in a way, like I don't know, there's some anything in which like they're technically not supposed to be together. That's my weakness right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And um no, yeah, I'll end it on one more question before we get into audience questions, but are you currently reading anything? And if so, what is it?
Not reading anything right now, but I have Love on the Brain from Ali Hazelwood over
Oh my gosh, no,
here.
yeah. I have the arc to that. I need to get into it. Yeah.
And I also have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
Oh my gosh, I love that book.
Yeah, that's a TikTok rec that I picked up. I picked up the hardback actually.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I love reading a hardback. So I'm just waiting for the right time. And I feel like the right time never, it's just like there's always some sort of project I'm working on or something. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, no, right now it's all podcasts and my own SHIT, which I do need a break from. I just need to take a break from it sometimes.
Awesome. No, yeah, definitely suggest Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It's very, very good in my opinion.
Okay, good. I'm in.
Okay. I'm gonna go through the audience questions. Hopefully, let me scroll through. Okay. Okay. Oop, I almost lost my place. Okay. This question, I don't say everyone's full name, but I don't know if this makes sense, but like when you think of your characters, oh my gosh, it keeps on. I think whenever someone comments, it like scrolls down and refreshes. But I think it was like, oh yeah, like what are they? I guess this is saying, okay. Do you see like your characters as actors or celebrities, like or like random people when you picture them?
I have like a
Like if
really,
you have a fan cast, if anything, yeah.
yeah, I don't, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Like for Hook, Line, and Sinker, I very specifically saw Tyler Cameron in my head when I was writing Fox. Do you know who I'm talking about from The
Yeah, Tyler
Bachelorette?
Cameron,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just a moment
No,
thinking
I
about
see it.
him. Yeah, and like Florence Pugh, like I definitely saw as Hannah. Like I saw
No,
her playing Hannah.
yeah.
Yeah, like maybe like slightly. I think Hannah's slightly younger than Florence, but same kind of like vibe. Like cool, like
Yeah.
cool
Like
girl.
there's like a silhouette of them or something like that.
Yeah. I couldn't. Brendan is someone that lives like in a part of my head. Like I don't think there's anybody on the earth like that looks like him to me. Like I'm convinced of it. But recently I was casting it. I was going through and casting some actors for different parts. And it happened one summer is what I was looking for. And won't say why. And I was starting to think like do you remember Taylor Kitsch from Friday Night Lights? Is that like before your time a little bit? He was also in
maybe you should look him up. Tyler Kitsch?
Taylor Kitsch, Kitsch. So keep in mind when you see like pictures of him, you're probably gonna see young pictures of him, and he's not young anymore. He's like in his like early to mid 30s, and he's like
I see this though. I see him as Brendan.
So put a beanie on him and a beard, and like could you not see that guy is Brendan, right?
No, yeah, fully. Even like he seems also like tall too.
Yeah,
no,
he is, and he's like jacked.
Yeah.
And he's a good actor, like he's a good actor. And then also, and I kind of saw Piper as the girl Bethany from Jumanji.
From Georgie, yeah, the first one, right? The one from like the 80s. Yeah, I remember.
Because I think she kind of has that like Piper's purple.
Oh no, yeah, I see that. That's cute.
So that's because I feel so many people have asked me like who I would cast, and I kept saying I don't know, like I think readers are doing a better job of it than me. And then I like really sat down and thought about it last weekend, and I like made a list. So that's who I came up with, and I feel like that was the only Brendan I came up with. So
yeah, no, I see that. Like I think when I remember when I was reading It Happened One Summer, I kind of just imagined just like the figure, not like a specific person. Sometimes I do that. Like I'll think of like celebrities and actors and like hot people. I'm like, okay, I'm like casting the whole thing as I'm reading. But with Brendan, he just kind of like existed in my head, and I was fine with that. No, yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like I think of like body and
yes,
body and energy, yeah, for sure. And like I do see silhouette and I see like certain components, but I don't necessarily all see it together.
Ah,
It's more like a feeling with the characters for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Oh yeah. This question is from Karen. So a lot of the jobs for your characters are very like obscure and such. How did the idea for Georgie being a clown come up? Like, how do you come up with that?
Because I'm so extra, and like I'm like, okay, so she's this girl, she's like the youngest one in the family, she's not taken seriously, everybody treats her like a kid, and her love interest is like a sex symbol, like
Right.
everybody's attracted to, and he's a professional baseball player. I was like, so what is the most extreme thing I can make her? And like to like really fit the mold that I've created for
Mhm.
her. And it was birthday party clown. And also I'm writing romantic comedies, and there's just a lot of opportunities for funny situations when your character is a clown.
Right. Oh yeah. No, yeah. If anything, like, I'm reading this book, so I'm like, this needs to be like added like a film or a movie or a show or whatever it is. I need to see it on the big screen
Oh,
for
love
sure.
that.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see these characters on screen.
Likewise. This is from, oh, I can't see their full name, but I'll just read out the question. How do you plan your books, and do you bullet point chapter outlines? Is there a formula you follow? I'm attempting to write my first romance novel, and I'm unsure of how to start. Love you, Tessa.
Love you too. Yeah, like I kind of said before, I start with the characters. I give them a past each. I give them their future goals, where I want them by the end of the book. And then I give them the reason they can't be together. And then
Right.
from there, you just kind of weave. I really do work with a bullet point technique, where I go, okay, these are the 6 or 7 beats that I need to hit for this story to follow the plot that like I've set out, and to get to the ending that I am envisioning. And
Yeah.
kind of in between those beats, though, I kind of leave room for some organic development between the characters. Like I don't want it to feel so rigid, and I don't want it to feel so plotted. Like I really do want it to feel like it's flowing well, and like it makes sense for the characters as they develop.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do like I come up with my concrete beats, and then I allow for a little wiggle room in between them. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good luck with your
Mhm.
novel. You can
No,
do it.
yeah, best of luck to you. But we are at time, and thank you everyone for like the questions in the comments. Sorry if we couldn't get to them all, but hope everyone had like a great time. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Tessa, for being here in the first place. It was such a pleasure to have this wonderful conversation with you and get more insight on your characters and your books and all this and all that. I had an absolutely great time, and I truly appreciate um everything that you did for
I
us.
had a great time too. Thank you. Those were great questions, and
Oh,
I had
thank
a great
you.
time. It's so good to meet you in person, fine, like, and not in
No,
person.
yes,
You know what I
I'm just
mean?
like, yeah,
Face to face, finally. And thanks everybody for like watching and asking questions too.
no, yeah. If you want to find out more about Tessa and her books and everything, you can number one follow her on all her social medias, including TikTok at author Tessa Bailey, and check out her website, tessabailey.com. Thank you again, everyone, and Tessa for being here. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their evening, day, wherever you are. And we'll see you guys all next time, okay? Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. I think Jason's coming.